Hello and welcome to episode 12 of How to Contract in Kerbal Space Program version 0.24. My name is Jim, and today we are going back to Duna, this time for the real mission. We are going to do the Explore Duna mission, so we'll accept that contract. There's also place a flag on Duna, so we'll go ahead and do that as well. And we're going to science and space around Duna. We're going to do that anyway, so we might as well add this contract to the mix. And finally, plant flag on Ike. Let's keep it simple and avoid that for now. So what we want to do is build a ship that will land and take off from Duna so we can recover all the science and not just transmit part of it, even though for the contract purposes, all we have to do is land and transmit the science. And we could plant the flag as well and leave the guy stranded on the surface, but we want to learn how to get off of Duna as well. So I'm going to add one other contract to the mix, and that is rescue Ensign Kerbin from Kerbin, because we're going to test our Duna lander by building a ship that can take off from Kerbin. If we can take off from Kerbin, we can take off from Duna. So let's just making sure there's nothing else. So we'll go ahead and accept that as well. Head back to the VAB. Okay, so what we need is a ship that can take off from Kerbin. Then we'll know for sure they'll take off from Duna. Duna has a lower gravity, less atmosphere. So we want something that's fairly compact, that has enough delta V to do the job. So we'll start with our capsule. We'll add the decoupler, because when we get back we want to just line the capsule with the Kerbin and all the science. We'll put on the radial parachutes. Oop, I need to do symmetry. There we go. Alright, so we're gonna base it on this liquid fuel tank. So that'll be the center stage. We'll start with our good old LT45, LVT45. And what we're going to do is asparagus stage around the center, but with, let's see, where are they? There they are. These radial decouplers. Yeah, we just need 2x symmetry because we're going, like I said, we're going to asparagus stage using fuel lines between everything. So what we'll do is we'll build this stage, and then we'll use Alt and click on this to copy the whole structure and place it multiple times. So we need another fuel tank. We'll need another engine, of course. And then what we're going to do is load this sucker up with parachutes. So we'll put that one there, and then we'll add 2 more to the outside, here and here, and that's copied on the other side. And now what we need is some basic things for survival. Actually, let's move this down, because we also need, let's see, what am I thinking? Oh yeah, batteries. We need a battery. We need, let's put extra torque on this guy. Control. And let's see. We need solar panels. I'm gonna put 4 solar panels here, because after everything detaches, I still want to make sure I have power. So go up to 4 on that, and I'll go up there. I'm also going to put solar panels on the outside, because these may get hidden by all the other rockets. So, do we have everything? We want utility. We want a docking port, just so we can refuel. And then we want, let's use the 2x3s on the outside here. Alright, finally we do need some RCS. Let's do that with these radial tanks. Mass, so 4 of these would be Yeah, a little under a ton. While this one, which one is this? This is a small one, that's a really small one. It's 0.55 for 100 as opposed to 160. I think this will be enough. Let's go ahead and add this in line with everything else. Some thruster blocks. And we need 4 times symmetry here. And another set towards the bottom. Alright, that should take care of any docking needs. Alright, and then let's do some struts. So we'll go from the inside of this to there. And the bottom of this. To here. And that should provide enough stability and strength. We also, for landing on Duna, we need landing legs. Let's see if these will be long enough. Let's do those there. Let's see. No, those do not reach down far enough, so that is an issue. So what we're going to have to do is extend them somehow. So structural. We've got these little beams. I don't think that's going to do the trick. Let's try... How much do these weigh? 0.125. We have 6 of them. But we need our legs extended downwards. No, not these. First... Oh, those are really small. Yeah, I guess I do want this. Let's keep grabbing the wrong one. There we go. Let's do that. And then we get to the utility, we'll get the landing legs. Stick them on the side here. And here. It's going to be kind of an ungainly ship. I haven't built that many planetary landers. I just like my moon landers, the style that we've been using on Ike and Moon and Midness. That's kind of my standard, so something this big landing on Duna, we'll see. Alright, let's add a strut. Alright, so let's go from here to the end of this. Just give this a little bit of extra rigidity when it hits. And then test the suspension. Okay, well below the engines, so that's fine. Alright, so we'll have 3 times 18 parachutes. Plus we'll have to use some engine probably. But we don't want to use a lot of the fuel landing, we just want to lighten our actual touchdown. Alright, and I think that's everything we need. We have... Now let's add an antenna. Because I want to transmit at least 1 piece of science in case we can't get off the ground. We'll still be good for completing our mission. Oh, I do not need symmetry on that. There we go. Okay, and the reason I only did 2 times symmetry on these tanks is because when I do the asparagus staging, this way I can separate each pair on the staging bar. Alright, so now that this part is done, let's move in a little bit to get a little more precise. I want to, like I said, I want to Alt-click on this. This will copy this part, and then shift it over, and then do that one more time. And now we have 6 all the way around the perimeter. I'm just kind of making sure the height is kind of good. We want to start with them deployed, because we're going to run our test by rescuing the Kerbal up in orbit. And so we'll just go right to the launch pad. Whoops, I turned off symmetry when I did this. So just click it again. X to turn on symmetry. And then place it once more. Yes, that looks even. I'm kind of checking the height right here to see if this one's a little low, so we can kind of fix that when we pick it up. Let's get our eyeballs even on that one line on the top of the tank. There we go. So we're extending all our legs. Oh, let's put some lights on this guy, just so we have some interesting visuals. Let's do a couple pointing downwards. And we'll make this one, let's see, the other one's purple. Let's kind of go with the blue. There we go. And then a couple pointed upwards. On this other diagonal. D to rotate. Shift S to kind of turn up. And since blue is pointing down, we'll go with kind of a reddish, not completely red, just a little hint of it. There we go. Alright, so this is, I think we're up to craft 16. Duna lander. Save that. Oh, you know what I need to do? Because I'm going to rescue the Kerbal in orbit, I need a probe to control it. Let's go with that, and we're put docking port back on. Alright, now I gotta fix staging. Staging is all kinds of messed up over here. Nope, I also need fuel lines. So there to there. There to there. So that's first stage. Second stage, third stage, and then final stage in the middle. Alright, I think this is going to do the job. Save that again. Oh, fix our staging, so we need all the engines going off at once. Parachutes are definitely in the last stage. Let's get that decoupler out of there. Move up all the parachutes. Kind of a bit of a pain, but this is what you have to do. Alright, there's all our parachutes. And actually landing on Duna, these would be ahead of this one because we would deploy the parachutes well before detaching this, so. Alright, so next is... Oh, that's right, I'll need a ladder system to get the Kerbals back into the capsule from Duna. I think they can take off with RCS, but I'm not positive. But we'll come back and do that later. Okay, so that's the final stage. Actually, all engines should be burning at takeoff. And then we need to dump this stage first, so that's, yes, that's that one. Next stage is these guys. Yes, that's this one. And third stage is over there. And finally, we're down to our one engine, and that should get us in orbit. Okay, so now we're able to test. Save that. We want no Kerbal, because we have the probe, and launch. What did I just get? Achieve orbit around Duna. Complete. Oh, okay, we had the other ship already around Duna. I don't think that's how they meant for this to work. Because remember, we left our test ship around orbit. And I don't think it even had a probe on it, so... Huh, that's weird. Alright, so we'll keep that open just so we can review everything when we're done. So use that. Alright, so now this test to see if this can get into Kerbin orbit. We have no Kerbal on board, so that's an additional benefit of this mission. And then our legs do work. Our engines are pretty darn close to the ground. So all the weight has compressed the landing gear quite a bit. So that may be another issue we'll have to deal with. Anyway, let's go ahead and try this mission. SAS on. Throttle, we don't need very much, so half is probably right. Alright, 3, 2, 1, lift off. We can put our gear up. We're going up pretty nicely. We can probably even slow down a bit. No, not that much. So a little less than half. We're already getting close to the first stage. drop those. Actually, what I should have checked on the launch pad was the weight. Right now we're at 33 tons. So we probably would have been close to or over 40 with the other stage. Yeah, probably over 40. So that's what we'd have to lift into orbit to get this on its way to Duna. Yeah, this probably isn't enough. I'll probably have to add another half tank on top of these and throttle up a little more. But let's see how far we get. Alright, ready to start a gravity turn. It's pretty nimble. And this is getting a longer burn because there's less engines draining these outside tanks. We had 7 engines draining the first set of tanks. Alright, let's roll it over a little more. And Ensign Kerbin is in pretty good position. Let's keep an eye on the resources. Getting close to staging again. Yeah, I don't think this is quite going to have the oomph. Okay, we need to giddy up here. Okay, well, we have almost reached space. Let's go to 75. So I think this ship will be good for Duna, with its lower gravity and thinner atmosphere. And it might even be good for here. We still have quite a bit of this tank left, and very little weight to push around. Already going 1,200 meters per second, so we need to add another 1,000 meters per second to get in orbit. Yeah, I'm willing to call this good enough for Duna. Alright, we have reached space. Let's go and open that up and tuck it down below the horizon to keep this from rising too much. We want horizontal velocity right now. About half our fuel gone from that tank. I think we're going to achieve orbit. Yes, we have. Alright, he's at 111,000, so let's go ahead and extend ourselves out to his orbit. This should be pretty close to a rendezvous from here. Yeah, which one is us and which one is him? Are we behind or ahead? That's us, we're behind. So what we want to do... So let's place a marker there. There we go, right on the other side. It's pretty darn close. So let's go ahead and do that. We have more than enough fuel to match orbit and then get back. Okay, let's find our position. We want to get on 90 degrees. Oh no, we want orbital prograde. 37 seconds. The burn will be just a couple seconds. 18 meters per second is not that much. So I'll do that when it gets down to 5. Alright, here we go. Alright, before it ends I'm going to cut that out and do this last. Okay, it's still lowering. Just tapping it and turning it off real fast. Okay, now it's going back up, so that's all we need to know there. And then 14.8 kilometers. Okay, that's probably... Now the descending node is there, so we're matching the north-south pretty well at this point. It's just that we're inside the orbit. So let's go ahead and... Yeah, let's go ahead and go around to there, and then we'll do the usual rendezvous maneuvers. We'll cut our relative velocities and then burn towards it. Or burn towards him, in this case. Alright, we want target. We'll find the retrograde. And when we take away 58 meters per second, we will be pretty close to that orbit. But now we want to do is burn towards. Get this up to about 20. You see our intersects are getting pretty close, but quite far away. I mean, far away in the orbit, but when we get there, we'll be pretty close. Just taking a look at the orbit. We're still inside. Alright, let's get into our regular view here. Let's go ahead and zoom in a bit, see how close we get. Okay, we're already burning away again. So let's cut this velocity again. Burn towards. Get it up to about 30. See how close we get with this pass. About 9 kilometers. Let's kill that relative velocity again. You can never have too much practice in rendezvous and docking. Alright, now let's burn towards again. So if we split the difference here, pull that yellow marker right into the pink. And let's see how close we get this time. Do a little... Nope, 8.6 was all we got out of that one. We gotta be careful with our fuel here. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting a little closer. Let's pull the yellow to the pink. Or if you split the retrograde yellow with the prograde pink, you also get the same result. Of bringing those in alignment. There we go. Now we're within a kilometer. Now let's cut this right on down. Zero this out. We'll let Enfin do the rest on his own. Oops, we're moving away now. Not what I wanted. There we go. Let's see how much closing we get with this. 500 meters, 400, 300, 200. Alright, let's go ahead and switch to him. With the bracket key. Wake him up by pressing R. Nope, I think was I still warping? There we go. I was still warping. Where is your target? Scan around the sky for... Oops. There we go. Alright, let's burn towards it. Burn up a bit. Finally close enough where we can pretty much burn directly. Set that as target. Double click. Yep. Oh, let's slow down. Actually caught up to it. Can I double click it? There we go. Kind of a sloppy rendezvous, but we eventually made it. Alright, slow down. Alright, grab on there. Go ahead and board. Let's face retrograde and burn down to the planet. And this is a successful mission and a successful build for our Duna lander. And what have we completed besides... Okay, no, I was going to say there's 3 there, but we've got a message that he's been added to the astronaut corps. Plus we've completed one of the parts of rescuing him. We've got him aboard a vessel. Alright, I'm gonna see you guys on the ground. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and we just checked really fast to make sure there was no science in the desert, but there wasn't, so we came home, we accomplished our mission. Our funds are definitely more than we need. We have him available. Okay, let's run through all these. Contract complete, 50,000 for the rescue. He's in part of the astronaut corps. Get him aboard a vessel is complete. Yeah, the chief orbit around Duna is complete, but we'll keep that open because that's part of all that other stuff. Alright, so that is done now. So we have our ship. What do we do with it? Well, now we need to get it in orbit and sent to Duna with all these tanks full. So that's going to be a little more problematic. So what we need is a launch vehicle. Now let's put this out on the launch pad for a second. Let's find out how heavy this is altogether. Alright, and to do that, you go to the map mode, click over on the I button for information, and our ship right now is 50 tons. That's a pretty hefty amount to get into orbit, so what we'll do, let's go ahead and revert that. And it costs 52,000, but again, money is really no object at this point, because we got lucky with that big engine test over Duna. Another thing I want to do is put these solar panels on a action group. So how you do that is click there, click on the solar panels, and we want to toggle panels with, let's do, these correspond to the different numbers on the keyboard, 1 through 0, 1 through 9, and then 0. For solar panels, let's go ahead and make 1 our standard for solar panels. And we want to toggle panels, and then what we gotta do is, you see it's highlighted purple. Now we can click on another set, toggle, click on another set, and you can see when we get into this, it highlights cyan, and we're off these, it'll highlight purple, so we'll toggle those. So now when we hit the number 1 on the keypad, or not the keypad, but above the regular letter keys, all these solar panels will deploy at once. Alright, so, oh, we didn't use our pretty lights, oh well. Alright, so let's save that little variation. Now, like I said, what we need is a launcher. Oops, I'm not in action, don't want to do action groups anymore. Actually, what I just realized, what we also need is some science stuff. So we need, let's put it right below this. We need a Science Junior. And then we need a goo pod. Of course we want them symmetrical, so we'll put 2 on right here and here. And then we want seismic accelerator, which we'll put right here. And thermometer, which we'll put right here. Oh, we don't need symmetry. Thermometer will go there. Let's take off the seismic accelerator, put it back on there. So we have all the current science. Oh, we can actually do barometer. Duna does have an atmosphere. So we'll put that above the thermometer. And one thing you can do is put these in action groups as well. So we'll have 2 be all our science. So if we click on that, do log, click on this one, log temperature, click on barometer, log pressure data. Can we do... Observe mystery U. We only want the 1 going off, but we can do it. Now let's leave that one out because... reset. Yeah, because we want to do 1 probably in orbit, or coming down through the atmosphere, and then the other one on the ground, so we'll do that. But we can click on the canister, observe the materials bay. So all 4 of these will get done with one press of the key, instead of right-clicking on everything. Alright, so that's our science. That adds a little weight to the ship, so that'll have to be considered as well. This time, we want all the landing gear retracted when we take off. So let's go around and do that. Okay, got all that. Let's go ahead and save this as Duna Lander with lifter. Alright, so like I said, we need something that will get 40 plus tons. Or was it was 50, wasn't it? It's 50 plus tons into orbit. Let's see, what is... The standard orange tank is 36 tons, so we're hefting quite a bit. What do we have in the way of? So our mainsail is our biggest engine right now, so we'll need a bunch of those. So what we need is... a decoupler here. We need... actually need a couple things. We need to get the interplanetary stage in as well. We can aero brake at Duna, so we'll do that and learn about aero braking. And that'll save us some fuel at the other end. But what we need is a big old hulking tank of orange fuel. Let's get some height on this guy. We're going to build a lot of stuff underneath it. From there we need... let's go with the tri-coupler. So this is going to enable us to attach 3 nuclear engines for some oomph and shorten our burns. Alright, I think that's going to get us there. Now we need to get all of this into orbit. And hopefully with some extra fuel. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did here. We're going to asparagus stage outward from this. We are going to use these decouplers again in 2x symmetry mode. Do front and back. Let's do it down here. We are going to attach... let's do it up here. Going to attach some more orange tanks. Make sure we have some clearance between all this stuff up top. Oops, that's not gonna work at all. Alright, why don't you want to attach? It's a pretty basic little function here. Sometimes gets pretty nitpicky. There we go. No, that's not what I want. Let's pull out. Let's move this down. I usually likes them kind of centered, so if I do it down here instead. Pick this up again. There we go. Come on. That's what I want. I think that's aligned. Yes, it is. Okay, finally. Alright, then I want to add... let's do it to the bottom. Then we'll move these up later. We want a bunch of skipper engines. Or mainsail, I should say. And then on the outside of this... yeah, I think I want to go with these guys. I am going to make yet another stage out here with these big bad boys. And then, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the fuel directly into the center stage. So these all will burn out at the same time. I'm going big this time, so because we need, like I said, we need to get a lot of weight to Duna. So this is kind of how to do this. I'm going to go ahead and put this on this stage. So that'll feed inward. We're going to do some struts now. So we'll go from there to there, and we want to do one on the bottom side. Go from there. Nope, doesn't want to do that. Usually the bottom of rocket engines are not a good place to attach struts. See, the hitbox is not what you would think it would be. But we can go from there, spin around. What the heck did I just attach to? Let's do there. Just because it is misbehaving. Alright, where I really want it is there to there. Alright, and first, before we do our duplication, we're going to move this up. Click there, move out, line this up, and put this right there. Yep, that's good. Alright, now I can duplicate. So that's Alt, click, and then I'm going to align with the top here as best I can. And I think that's the right distance. Yeah, it looks like it. Actually, before I did that, let's go and dump those. I should have threaded in the inside here. So let's do that now. And from there to there. And then at the bottom, let's do from this tank to this tank. And that kind of ties the structure of these two tanks into a greater whole. Alright, now we can duplicate. Move in. Okay, get that highlighted. Alt click. I think that's the right place. Yeah. Alt click again. Alright, and get that lined up. Alright, so that's our ship. Kind of a beast here, but I think this will do the job. Alright, finally we need to do the rest of our asparagus staging. So these are going to feed into these tanks, but then I want, after these outside tanks are gone, I want this to feed into here, and this to feed into here. I'm going to leave out the center one because that's our nuclear engine, so those aren't very good at burning in the atmosphere, so we'll just leave those off. I think everything else will be more than enough to get the job done. We shall see, and now we need extra struts to tie all these in sideways. So, move in, there to there, one from gray to gray, one from the bottom of the orange to the bottom of the next orange, and then two across from these outside tanks. And then we need to do that 3 more times, or 2 more times. So top, bottom, gray, and then outside top, and bottom. And the last set, top to top, bottom to bottom, gray to gray, and outside to outside. And finally, we need to stabilize our payload. So we can do that right on these landing legs. So let's go from the outside here, up to there, here to here, and there to there. And that should do it. Let's put some across on all of these. And there's one thing I just thought of before we complete all of this. Is under utilities, we need some ladders. And in particular, we need to get down to get to the science to collect it all. So we're going to work some ladders. Whoops, we don't need 2 times symmetry. We just need 1. So we'll redo that. And I think we can... Nope. No, it didn't let me place that. I didn't think it was going to let me place it over the RCS jet, but it did. And I think this will be okay. I think I'm doing the Kerbals can fly. So I'm going to rely on that for getting the Kerbals back up into the ship. On other planets and some moons like Tylo, the gravity is so high that you need to make sure ladders stretch all the way to the ground. Especially on Eve. Eve, the Kerbals can barely even jump an inch. Alright, so let's save that. Checklist. Oh yeah, we gotta do staging. We also need some stability enhancers. And we just need to do that. 2 times symmetry. You don't need to really overdo it with these. Just grabbing onto all the outside parts usually does the trick. Alright, so we have those fire. 6 engines. Actually, all these engines. 12 engines are going to go off. And then all of these outside stages. Yeah, that's what those are. And then our inside asparagus staging. So this one has to leave first. Oops, I do not want to have partial fuel in my tank, please. I want a full tank. Alright, so we gotta look at here. And that is... Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm up here, this row. That is the set. So the middle one goes here. Next set that to fall off is this one. That is this set of 2. And then for some reason the other 2 are separate, but once it's saved and reloaded, these will join up. Finally, yeah, once those all go away, we're relying on our nuclear engines. That's those 3 at the bottom, so that's a separate stage. Once those burn out, or when we want to finally land on Duna, this uncouples. So that's a separate stage, and that goes after the nuclear engines, but before the takeoff engines. And before we actually... Well, we do want to activate these engines, but we need to land on Duna, so that means all these parachutes. And hopefully I can do this without exiting. Let's save first. These need to come after those engines. Because we'll activate the engines, deploy the parachutes, fire the engines to soften our landing, and then of course take off again. And then we need to do our asparagus staging of the takeoff, lander and takeoff part. So 1, 2, 3, and then when we get home we need to dump the lander. And then which parachutes are those? We're going to deploy those. What we can do is, once we get back into space, the Kerbal can redeploy, or repack these chutes, so they'll be good for the Kerbin landing as well. If we need extra fuel, we can send a fuel pod that will latch onto this. Or even another nuclear tug that can dock with this and take it home. So we have options there. Alright, I think this is it. But I think this has also been long enough for this episode, so this has all been prep for our Duna mission. I hope I've explained everything clearly enough of what I'm doing to make this a workable ship. Actually, I'm really high off the ground, so let's go ahead and lower this. It's really not important. These guys will stretch pretty much as far as they need to stretch, and everything will work fine. But just kind of an aesthetic thing. Let's resave that. We have our action groups to do all the science, and also to deploy the solar panels on the outside of this part of the ship. So, I'm going to check something real fast. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back, and yes, this episode is ridiculously long once again. Probably over an hour even after I do some speed-ups and editing. So, but next time we are going to Duna with this ship. Let's do one thing. Let's go take a look at the contracts. That's interesting. This is one of the bugs I keep getting, where I get this close-up, and it just loops me around in a way that I can't get out unless I restart the game. Let's see if I can get into the contract building now. Okay, I can. I think I just can't get anywhere else besides those 3 buildings. But let's just take a look, make sure nothing else popped up that we can do at Duna. And it doesn't look like it. Like I said, plant flag on Ike. This would add just way too much complexity to something that's already complex, so we're not going to bother with that. And everything else looks the same. Okay, so that's it. This has been episode 12 of How to Contract in Kerbal Space Program version 0.24. My name is Jim. I want to thank you for joining me. Have a great day.